It usually starts like a completely normal Tuesday. You grab coffee, skim through emails, and spot a low-priority help desk ticket. A user has a blinking cursor on their screen and can't connect to the printer. You leave it in the queue. But over the next few hours, 3 more tickets pop up, then 10. They all report the exact same printer error. By noon, entire departments are locked out of their workstations. The printer glitches are masking a full-scale ransomware deployment. Ransomware is malicious software that encrypts a victim's files, holding the data hostage until a payout is made. And right now, it is actively locking down the entire network. The screens go dark, and the office goes quiet. People look to management, but leadership is staring blankly at their phones. Without email or internal messaging, the executives realize they have no immediate way to communicate with their teams or clients. Those first chaotic minutes peel back the curtain. A company might spend millions on firewalls, but the moment a live threat bypasses the perimeter, their actual ability to manage a crisis is exposed. That hesitation is exactly where catastrophic financial losses begin. Many organizations think they are safe because they have an incident response plan. It usually sits in a thick binder on a shelf, written 5 years ago to satisfy a compliance audit, and hasn't been opened since. When the network goes down, the binder doesn't help. We look at this organizational chart and see exactly where the breakdown happens. Half the executives realize nobody actually agrees on what qualifies as a formal incident, and the remaining leaders freeze, unsure who legally holds the authority to shut down the servers. That communication breakdown paralyzes the entire company. While the attacker moves deeper into the system, the isolated departments are left wondering, who notifies the clients? Who loops in legal counsel? And most importantly, who actually authorizes a ransom payment? Every minute of that paralysis has a price tag. Third-party incident responders charge upwards of $300 an hour per engineer. Add in forensic analysts, breach coaches, public relations damage control, and the massive revenue hit from operational downtime. People expect to rise to the occasion during an emergency. The reality is, you fall back on whatever you have actively practiced. The antidote to that chaos happens right here. 2 hours, a conference room, and a box of donuts. This is a tabletop exercise. Think of it like Dungeons and Dragons for corporate risk. A facilitator walks the executive team through a simulated attack, but the scenario is built specifically for them, using the exact software, vendors, and communication tools the company relies on every single day. The facilitator doesn't give them a script to read. Instead, they inject specific, escalating problems into the room. A server goes down. A client data record is breached. A news outlet calls for comment. The group has to react in real time. If the scenario uses generic labels, people tune out. But when the facilitator announces that the company's actual Salesforce instance is actively exfiltrating data, the abstract threat becomes deeply personal. The room gets quiet. The executives lean in. Stripping away the hypotheticals forces leadership to confront their actual readiness. They stop debating what they should do and have to admit what they are prepared to do in a live crisis. It is tempting to write this off as an IT drill. A lot of companies assume the session will just be engineers arguing about log files and firewall configurations. But the simulation is a business stress test. As we can see in this flowchart, an IT alert rarely follows a straight line. The real friction happens when the crisis bleeds over into human resources, legal, and executive management. Inside the room, specific failure points surface almost immediately. Human resources and IT start playing hot potato, each assuming the other is responsible for drafting the mandatory breach notification to the employees. Tactical gaps get exposed too. The team decides they need to execute a manual server shutdown, only to realize it is 2 a.m. in the simulation, and nobody on the leadership team has the lead engineer's personal cell phone number. Exposing these severe operational flaws in the safety of a conference room ensures those exact same flaws do not destroy the company during a real breach. The financial logic behind this is incredibly straightforward. A tabletop exercise costs a few hours of salary and a catering order. A real data breach costs millions in recovery fees, legal penalties, and lost customer trust. Failing the simulation costs you the price of coffee. Failing in reality means your company is buying the attacker a new yacht. The goal of the simulation is not a perfect score. You want the team to trip, stumble, and make mistakes. Finding and documenting those weaknesses is the only way to patch the holes before an attacker finds them. And finding those holes has quickly shifted from a nice-to-have to a financial mandate. The cyber liability insurance market is tightening. Adjusters are actively combing through policies, looking for reasons to deny claims based on a lack of preparation. If your company hasn't followed its own policies or can't prove it tested its defenses, the claim gets denied. Proactive flaw discovery is now a strict requirement to keep your insurance valid, and by extension, your business viability. By 2026, the insurance industry's rule is absolute. No control, no quote. Underwriters are no longer accepting promises. They demand proof. The baseline starts with technical controls. Carriers require universal multi-factor authentication and advanced endpoint monitoring to watch for malicious activity. But the ultimate requirement is human. Carriers demand documented evidence of a tested incident response plan, proven by an annual tabletop exercise. Failing to meet these standards leads to an immediate denial of coverage. Without that financial safety net, a single successful ransomware attack pushes a company straight into bankruptcy. Attackers aren't waiting for you to feel ready. You can role-play a disaster today on your terms or live through one tomorrow on theirs.